Good afternoon and welcome to the Committee on Education. Today is Wednesday, February 3rd, 3:00 p.m. and we are in conference room 229 for hearing agenda of 7 bills. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. This Zoom meeting and YouTube live stream event will include the 3:00 agenda for the Committee on Education. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Friday, February 5th at 3:00 p.m. and a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. I'd like to take this time to remind our testifiers that due to time restrictions on our hearings, we will be limiting testimony to 1 minute per testifier per bill. For the people participating remotely, all testifier audio will be muted and video disabled until shortly before it is your turn to testify. When I call your name, staff will unmute you and your time will begin. After your minute is completed, staff will mute you so that we can move this hearing along in an orderly and efficient manner. Thank you. We are going to start with Senate Bill 224 relating to education. This gives a preference to students who live within the service area of a school or who enrolled in the school the previous school year who apply for participation in a career and technical education program offered by that school. Establishes enrollment in a career and technical education program as a new exception to the requirement to attend school within the service area in which a student resides. To testify on Senate Bill 224, Terry Ushijima, Interim Assistant Superintendent on behalf of the Department of Education.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Mikado Kim, and members of the committee. I'm Terry Ushijima, Interim Assistant Superintendent of the Department of Education, testifying on behalf of Superintendent Christina Kishimoto. The Hawaii Department of Education recognizes the intent and respectfully provides comments on Senate Bill 224 and stand on our written testimony. Thank you for your support of our CTE programs. We know that it is one of the vital pathways, along with others, to provide students with opportunities to pursue their interests and aspirations and benefits our future state workforce. The system in which a school determines entry into a career and technical education program varies, with each school design being unique. Schools weigh GE applications with existing resources, example, availability of space, instructors, equipment for their various programs when approving the applications, including CTE,
Thank you, Terry. Members, are there questions? We have other written testimony, but she was the only oral testimony. If not, moving on to Senate Bill 518 relating to education, requires the Department of Education to establish and implement the Sexual Abuse Prevention Education Program to educate public school students on sexual abuse prevention, provide relevant training to teachers and staff, and inform parents and guardians about important child sexual abuse topics. Requires the Board of Education to adopt policies to effectuate the program. Requires reports to the legislature. Appropriates funds. To testify on Senate Bill 518, Terry Ushijima, testifying on behalf of the Department of Education.
Thank you very much, Chair Kidani. The Hawaii Department of Education stands on our written testimony and respectfully provides comments on this bill. Currently, the department implements board policy 103-5 Sexual Health Education and is updating a list of vetted instructional materials for sexual health and sexual violence prevention, which includes all of the proposed knowledge and skill requirements for child sexual abuse prevention instruction to students. With the ongoing work of the department, we continue to be committed to supporting students' health, well-being, and safety currently addresses the issues highlighted by this measure. Should the measure move forward due to the scope of the proposed statewide program, the department anticipates that additional time will be needed to prepare for training and implementation. The department respectfully recommends that the activities and appropriations be extended over 3 years of phased activities, with the first year being used to prepare for phase 2.
Thank you, Terry. Members' questions? If not, our next testifier is Judith Clark, Executive Director for Hawaii Youth Services Network. Judith?
Aloha, I'm Judith Clark, Executive Director of Hawaii Youth Services Network, and we are in strong support of this bill. The only education I received about sexual abuse as a child was to beware of strangers, but it wasn't a stranger who molested me and 5 other girls in my 4th grade class. It was our school bus driver. Every child on the bus watched the abuse take place daily for a month or more, but none of us knew how to report it or knew that it was a wrong thing. When someone finally reported it to the school and we were called into the office to talk to the principal, every one of us thought that we were the ones who had done something wrong. If we had received education about sexual abuse, we would have recognized it immediately, known how to seek help, and understood that we were not to blame for what had happened. It could have been stopped after the first time with the first.
Thank you, Judith. Members' questions? Not our next testifier on Senate Bill 518 is Ryan Kusumoto, President and CEO of Parents and Children Together. Ryan?
Thank you, chairs and committee members. I see Erin Merrin listed as a testifier, and I would humbly like to yield my time to her if that's possible.
Go ahead. She's muted.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Thank you.
I 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused by the age of 18. For the last 11 years, I have traveled across America testifying on Aaron's Law, which requires every year we teach kids personal body safety education. State of Illinois, and 11 years later, here we have now passed it in nearly 40 states. Hawaii was one of those states that I traveled to, tried to get it passed 4 years ago, and was not successful. As a young child, the only education I got when it came to sexual abuse was by perpetrators. The neighbor that told me, this is our little secret, no one will believe you, I'll come get you if you tell anybody. And then the family member that told me I would destroy our family. I had no proof what he was doing to me and that no one would believe me. No one was ever teaching me safe and unsafe touch, safe and unsafe secrets, and how to speak up and tell if you were being sexually abused. So I had made it my mission for 11 years now to get this passed in all 50 states. Hawaii is one of 13 states left that have not passed. And it is my hope, after looking at my testimony that I've submitted to you, this is no longer an unfunded mandate. The Aaron's Law federal bill passed in 2015, signed by President Obama, providing federal funding towards the bill. And the fact that all the success stories popping up around the country of kids coming forward and disclosing they've been abused after being taught Aaron's Law. One perfect example was just a few months ago out of South Carolina. The article out of a Fox News report said, brave child comes forward after being taught Aaron's Law and reporting it to teacher. A Maryland teacher was sentenced to 40 days in prison after a 12-year-old was taught Aaron's Law.
Thank you, Aaron. Members, questions? Next testifier is Andre Biscara. Andre, please proceed.
Hello, Chair. This is remote data staff. Andre is not on the call.
Thank you. That is all the testifiers that we had signed up to give oral testimony. We do have several written testimonies in your packet. Members, any questions? Moving on, the third item on the agenda is Senate Bill 805 relating to the practice of behavior analysis. Makes the exemption from the behavior analysis licensing requirements permanent for certain teachers working in collaboration with a licensed behavior analyst or licensed psychologist. Clarifies exemptions from licensure as a behavior analyst for general education teachers, direct support workers, special education teachers, and teacher trainees working in collaboration with or under the supervision of licensed professionals. Exempts licensed special education teachers and individuals in approved and accredited special education training programs who are working toward licensure as special ed teachers whose scope of practice and training includes applied behavior analysis. To testify on Senate Bill 805, Heidi Armstrong testifying on behalf of the Department of Education. Heidi, please.
Good afternoon, Senator Kidani, Vice Chair Kim. I'm Heidi Armstrong from the Department of Education, and the department supports the intent of SB 805 relating to the practice of behavior analysis with modifications. The department recommends that the licensed special education teacher exemption be amended to include only special education teachers licensed in severe profound disabilities or autism who have completed training in a behavior analysis and interventions and are operating within the boundaries and scope of their education, training, and practice. The department is also in support of allowing licensed classroom teachers to implement ABA services in a school setting in collaboration with a licensed behavior analyst or a licensed psychologist. And in addition, the department recommends that licensed classroom teachers be allowed to implement ABA in consultation with special education teachers licensed in severe profound disabilities or autism. The department recognizes there may be some special education teachers licensed in severe profound disabilities or autism who feel they're not equipped to provide the level of quality ABA services they are tasked with in accordance with the proposed amendments of this bill. These teachers may decline to perform such services while they seek additional training and support in their area of deficit as part of their commitment to ongoing professional learning. There may be situations where special education teachers licensed in severe profound disabilities or autism may be prevented from performing this work due to their current assignment or caseload. In these situations.
Thank you, Heidi. Next testifier is Nathan Murata, Dean, College of Education, University of Hawaii. Dean Murata, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. Nathan Murata, Dean, College of Education. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on Senate Bill 805 exempting special education teachers with training in applied behavior analysis from the behavior analysis licensing law. The University of Hawaii College of Ed supports Senate Bill 805, which exempts SPED teachers with training in ABA from the behavior analysis licensing law. A licensed special ed teacher, an individual who is working towards licensure as a special ed teacher and who is enrolled in a state-approved, nationally accredited special education teacher preparation program that includes training in behavior analysis, assessment, and intervention, provided that the special education teacher and individual working towards that licensed special ed teacher's scope and education and training and practice. So we're very supportive of this bill. Thank you for allowing us to testify on our behalf.
Thank you, Dean Murata. Next to testify, Mary Jo Noonan, Chair, Department of Special Education, University of Hawaii.
Thank you, Senator Kidani and Vice Chair Kim. I'm in favor of Senate Bill 805 and its exemption 10. I'm professor and chair in the department, and I have expertise in severe disabilities, autism, and applied behavior analysis, or ABA. Teachers licensed in severe profound disabilities and autism are very well trained to design and deliver ABA assessments and interventions. My written testimony, also submitted, illustrates the substantial overlap in the coursework and practicum for special education teachers in severe profound disabilities and autism and behavior analysts. ABA is the foundation of special education in severe disabilities and autism, and it is assessed in the special education licensing exam used in Hawaii. We must include these skills in our accredited curriculum. It will benefit our state and our state's children if licensed teachers in severe disabilities and autism are exempt from the behavior analyst licensing law and allowed to practice within the scope of their training and practice. My written testimony provides suggested language for Senate Bill 805. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to testify, Corey Rosenly, President, Hawaii State Teachers Association.
Hi, Mitzi Higa speaking for Corey Rosenly, President of Hawaii State's Teachers Association. We oppose SB 805, and this is the reason. Our teachers, as we have stated before, even our special ed teachers, it's not the same license as if they were a behavior analyst or a school psychologist. And we do not want them to be exempt. We do agree they can, in fact, implement. And the date that is on, let's say, July 1st, 2019, on page 2, line 14, should absolutely be removed so that teachers can be free to implement. The problem with implementation of the other, like the functional behavior assessment, we're talking about a 20 to 30 page report. Teachers are already overwhelmed, especially our special ed teachers. They do a lot of assessments, but sometimes they need outside help. They need to ask another expert to do a functional behavior assessment and give them an ABA plan, and then they work together to support the child. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitzi. Next to testify, Dr. Linda Hufano for Alex Lichten on behalf of Hawaii Psychological Association.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Kidani and Vice Chair Mercado Kim. I'm Dr. Linda Hufano, and I am here to, you have our written testimony, but I'm also here to say that there is still a huge need for both ABA paraprofessionals and ABA professionals. So we are advocating or seeking clarification to ensure that licensed psychologists will be able to supervise any para, including registered behavior technicians. We have trained these people. Sometimes they get an RBT certification in addition to the certification that is required for us to work with the DOE or to work with third-party payers. So we want to continue to supervise those people, and we also believe that it will be helpful to the Department of Education. We know that the superintendent in a recent report indicated that there is.
Thank you, Dr. Hufano. Next to testify, Amanda Kelly, Vice President, Co-founder, Together for Our Keiki. Amanda?
Hello, Chair. Amanda is not on the call.
Thank you. Next to testify, Amoy Hugh Penny, individual.
Can you hear and see me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Dr. Amoy Hugh Penny. I have over 25 years experience as both a board certified behavior analyst as well as special education teacher and administrator. I have been teaching both licensed teachers in teacher licensing programs as well as behavior analysts and behavior analyst certification programs. I am in favor of some of the exemptions made in collaboration with behavior analysts. However, I am in opposition to exemption 10 for teachers who are only enrolled but not licensed as special educators, and for those which we cannot test their exact competencies in writing behavioral procedures. The extent to which the experience necessary to engage in such practices is quite extraordinary, and to do so without without collaboration with a licensed behavior analyst could lead to the opening of increased risk of harm.
Thank you. Next to testify, Kristen Colbert-Burt, individual.
Thank you, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Mercado Kim, and members of the committee. I would like to stand on my written testimony in support of exemptions 2 and exemption 4, but oppose exemption 10 and echo HSTA's testimony, ensuring that teachers have the support of experts as part of the IEP team when needed to support some of our most vulnerable students. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Members, that is the last of our oral testimony, and we have a number of written testimony. Are there any questions, members? If not, thank you. Moving on to item number 4. Relating to public school lands, requires the Attorney General of the State of Hawaii on behalf of the Department of Education to institute proceedings to acquire certain land owned by the Mililani Town Association by voluntary action or condemnation. To testify on Senate Bill 806, Randy Tanaka for the Department of Education.
Aloha, Chair Kidani, Vice
Aloha.
Chair Kim, thank you very much. We truly support the bill and want to thank you, Senator, and the MTA for the extraordinary patience that you have displayed in getting this accomplished. You should know that we're very close to the finish line. The condemnation process is in place. We're about to complete the project in the front of the school and acquire the rest of the property that will be put to good use by the school. So I just want to say thank you very much. We support the intent of the bill, and much mahalo. Aloha.
Thank you, Randy. Members, questions? And just as a note, I am a board member of the Mililani Town Association, and they are voluntarily wanting to release the lands to the Department of Education. Without any questions, members, moving to item number 5 on our agenda. Senate Bill 807 relating to education, requires the Department of Education to submit an annual report on the school academic and financial plans to the Board of Education and the legislature. To testify on Senate Bill 807 is Phyllis Unabisami for the Department of Education, our Deputy Superintendent. Phyllis, please.
Aloha, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. I'm Phyllis Unabasami, Deputy Superintendent, testifying on behalf of Superintendent Kishimoto. The department supports the tenets of this bill and offers comment in our written testimony. We thank the legislature for your interest in delivering high-quality K-12 public education in Hawaii. School-level leaders, in collaboration with their school community councils, are best suited to design academic and financial plans to meet the needs and aspirations of the learners in their community. The department state offices provide resources, centralized and targeted support to ensure the successful execution of those school plans. And we are available to answer any of your questions. Mahalo.
Thank you, Phyllis. Also to testify is Sherry Nakamura, Director for He'e Coalition.
Yes, aloha, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. He'e Coalition is testifying in support of SB 807 on academic and financial plan reporting. We thank the legislature for this bill, which asks schools to connect the usage of financial resources to student outcomes. Stakeholders are entitled to see where schools are strategically spending their resources to provide the greatest impact on students. While the bill improves transparency in connecting the use of resources to outcomes, we believe that more should be done. When we look at the academic plans on the DOE website, They're difficult to understand, and there's no consistency in reporting across schools, which makes it difficult to evaluate their effectiveness. We give an example of how we think the academic plan should be structured so that stakeholders can logically follow the goals and strategies of both the schools system and the schools. We hope that we were able to present it in a way that is easy to follow. If you have any questions, we are happy to stand by. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Members, questions? Sherry, the last of our oral testimony. We have 2 written testimony also. If there are no questions, moving to item 6 on the agenda. Senate Bill 809 relating to education appropriates funds to public school positions and the Hawaii Teachers Standards Board. To testify, Dean Nathan Murata, College Education, University of Hawaii. Dean Murata, please.
Oh, hi again. Good afternoon. Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. The University of Hawaii Manoa College of Education supports Senate Bill 809, which provides funding for public school positions and the Hawaii Teacher Standards Board. There is a continuous need for public school positions throughout the state of Hawaii, including those hard to fill areas and high demand positions. Further, the Hawaii Teacher Standards Board serves as a catalyst for ensuring all our teacher candidates have met professional and ethical standards prior to receiving a teacher license. Thank you for allowing us to provide testimony to support.
Thank you, Dean Murata. To testify also, Lynn Hammonds, Executive Director, Hawaii Teacher Standards Board. Lynn?
Thank you, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. I'm Lynn Hammonds, Executive Director of the Hawaii Teacher Standards Board. And we stand on our written testimony in strong support of this bill, and thank you for hearing it. We hope to be able to continue seamlessly to provide support for teacher licensing, preparation programs, and professional development in the state. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer those for you. But again, thank you very much for hearing this bill and for your support.
Thank you, Lynn. Members, questions?
Christine.
If not, we are moving on to the next item in our agenda. Senate Bill 811 relating to the Department of Education requires the Department of Education to publish a weekly report on schools that have reported COVID-19 cases. To testify on Senate Bill 811, Phyllis Unabisami, Deputy Superintendent. Phyllis, please.
Sorry, I'm just checking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Phyllis Unabasami, Deputy Superintendent, on behalf of Superintendent Kishimoto. The department offers comments on this bill. The department has been advised that disclosure of a specific school where an individual tests positive for COVID-19 would negatively affect our ability to protect the individual and or community groups from being identified, protect them from harassment, and based on our experiences being marginalized. The department has been able to respond to the incidents of COVID exposure through our mitigation strategies, current communication protocols, and continual consultation with health experts from DOH and CDC. Recent school visits by CDC and DOH to multiple schools validated the efforts of our school leaders and teams to create a safe place in the midst of a pandemic. To date, we have no report of transmission of COVID due to the way we operate our schools. This is a testament to the dedicated work of our state-level COVID.
Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Unabisami.
They just got cut off automatically.
Members, any questions?
Good one.
Phyllis, I do have a question. You know, I just wanted you to make sure is that we're not here to say that you shouldn't, I mean, you should be naming individuals. That's not what we're asking. We're just asking you to name the schools. Previously, you guys have told us it's against HIPAA, it's against FERPA. I doubt that that's the truth. just recently, I can't remember if it was in the morning paper or yesterday morning's paper, a principal of a Windward school, said that they had a COVID case. I mean, it's in the paper. DOH, often names care homes and condos where there have been outbreaks. So I do not see why you cannot name the school. We're not asking you to name an individual, a student, a teacher, whatever. Instead of naming a complex area, which in the case of Mililani can be from Mililani town all the way through the North Shore, with thousands of people there wondering what school it is, and being unaware, it makes them hesitant. It makes parents and students hesitant to want to come back to a school classroom because they don't know which one it is. And I'm not saying that the schools are not doing a good job sanitizing. I'm just saying the public has a right to know what schools have been impacted. So why is DOE hesitant to do that?
So based on thank you, Senator. And so based on our experiences in which schools have been identified either by media or by others, we have experienced disruptions to the school community, to the school operations. We have seen families and or community groups that have been ostracized and or marginalized, especially in schools, in communities that are small enough where it's easy to identify based on the kinds of notice that might be given, that was put into the media. It is for that reason that we are hesitant to identify schools. The burden of taking the questions, inquiry, either from media and or from the public, and that falling on an individual school administrator at a time when they're trying to set up operations and so forth. We know from talking with school leaders that it has impacted their ability to do their job and run the schools. And it's for that reason I'm in front of you sharing that we ask that you consider that we do notification and communicate with those individuals that might have been affected by a person, whether it's a staff member or a student, that we do communicate with the affected community, but that we do not feel that publishing it on a weekly basis adds to the value of the communication protocols that we've already set up.
Frankly, Deputy Superintendent, I believe that it would be less of an impact and to the school to have the information made public by the Department of Education. It doesn't have to be the principal, but just to let them know there was a case, it's under control. That's all that has to be said, rather than having, again, multiple communities wondering, is it their school? Was it their student? Was it, their family member? Was it their teacher? That's all I'm saying. I think it's more disruptive when the public does not know. Members' questions. Senator Kim.
Thank you. I too share the concerns of the chair. Wouldn't it be better for DOE to get in front of it? Wouldn't it be better for you folks to control the message by putting it out and saying who would be the person to respond to? It doesn't have to be the principal. It can be the superintendent, whoever you designate, but you would be in control. How is it going to help if a small community, the people find out without you making the notice, and word gets out and it doesn't necessarily get out in an accurate way, then the community's going to be all up in alarm. So I think that's a worse scenario than you folks being in front of it and taking control of it.
Thank you, Senator. Again, we have communication protocols that include notifying the affected community of close contact, possible close contact. We also have, in abundance of caution, put in some protocols and agreed to certain procedures that we will use to make sure that we're protecting and keeping our schools and our offices safe, our employees and students. And so in our experiences so far, we have set up those those protocols and have been using them for the last 10 months. In those cases, we have found that that has helped to balance the uncertainty and reluctance of individuals who carry whatever, for whatever reason, and this sense of worry that I might be stigmatized, I might lose standing in my community, and we believe that as an organization, that if we can help to balance that we want to be able to do that. And that is why we set up our protocols the way we have. All of the communication that has to do with a particular case is handled with the school, by the state office and by the complex area. And we do it as quickly as we can so that it reduces the burden on the school and lessens, hopefully, the disruption to the school. What we know is that when a school gets identified, whether we agree that we will handle the media and or public inquiries, the school still is the focus of wanting communication beyond the school community.
Phyllis, I can understand everything you said, and I certainly appreciate that. But again, this is a small community. Even the whole state of Hawaii, word gets out. So when you say stigmatize, the fact that we're not talking about a case, we're not talking about the individual, we're talking about the school. So I find your reasoning to, you can continue to do everything you're doing. We're just, what the bill is calling for and what the community, this bill is here because this is what the community feels is needed. And that they want to know what school. So I think you folks need to rethink your position on this. Thank you.
Senator De La Cruz.
Phyllis, I don't understand why the department sees it as an either or. Similar to what Senator Kim is saying, why can't you just do both?
Again, in discussion with our leaders, and knowing what the impact is when we are, when a school has been identified, whether erroneously or not, the impact on a small school in a community where everyone knows each other is detrimental. And I'm speaking from experience, and it is for that reason, as we learned and we built the system, I can only say that in my experience, I will do what I can in my role to continue to protect the individual from being the focus of attention while they're recovering from an illness. And that's why I am asking for you to consider that position also.
I think it's more effective if the department comes out with messaging versus having the Coconut Wireless start to dictate the messaging, and then you lose control, and then now you're doing more mitigating on the messaging because you didn't come out with anything official from the beginning.
So please know that we do come out with something, but it is to the affected community and the people that are in close proximity to the case.
Okay, I just think in this time of social media and Twitter and Facebook and people calling and texting, that if the department is not ahead of it, then now you're having to do with more mitigation, more effort, getting the truth told out, trying to get the facts out. I mean, you're already behind because the department's not taking the lead.
Further questions, members? If not, moving on to the next testifier who looks like he's ready to jump in. Corey Rosenlee, President, Hawaii State Teachers Association. You may begin, Corey.
Thank you, Chair Kidani. Good to see all of you. Yes, HSTA supports this bill. This is something that we've been advocating from the beginning of this pandemic. We know that other states are actually doing it by school. There's so much need for this for multiple reasons. We shouldn't have to guess if there's cases at a school. It doesn't allow us to have any accountability to the DOE, especially to look to see what type of opening a school is having, whether it's bringing all students on campus, is there higher cases. We've also have our teachers share that some schools are not maintaining certain cleanliness standards, and there's no accountability to check with this as well. So if we're noticing that certain types of openings are causing more cases, or if we're seeing that the schools are not able to keep up to certain cleanliness standards and that is leading to an increase of cases, there needs to be some accountability to the department. So that's why we do support this bill.
Thank you, Corey. You know, I neglected to mention that Senator Favela is with us virtually. Senator Favela, thank you for joining us. Members, any questions of Corey Rosenly, please? If not, Corey, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 8. And the last item on our agenda, Senate Bill 812 relating to education requires the superintendent to serve as a summer learning coordinator and coordinate all summer programs for children. Requires the summer learning coordinator to leverage certain federal funds for school-based summer programs. To testify on Senate Bill 812, Terry Ushijima for the Department of Education, please.
Thank you, Chair Kidani. Thank you for this opportunity to testify on behalf of the superintendent. The Hawaii Department of Education respectfully provides comments on Senate Bill 812 and stands on our written testimony. Given the existing board policy 500-18 providing the superintendent with discretion over summer school programming, and the existing cross-office collaboration, we believe this measure is not needed at this time. We would defer to the Department of Human Services in regards to any restrictions placed on the federal funds administered by their department that is mentioned in the bill. Thank you.
Members, questions? Terry, I have a question.
Yes.
With regard to any programs being looked at by DOE for remediation for our students who are falling far behind because of, of course, the pandemic and not being able to be physically in school, are there programs being looked at now? Is there a plan?
Yes, we are currently working with our complex area superintendents who are working with their schools to look at their student progress up to this point, and they are in the process of determining what their school needs are, and we will be having further discussions about possible options this upcoming month and moving forward.
Well, we're already in February, and in 3.5 months or so, summer will be here for our students. I think we're kind of getting past the time of looking, and we need to be having some plans in place. And that's, I have some concerns because you guys have already posted some of the test results, and we know that between 23 and 25% of our students in grade school are failing in or behind in reading and math. That being known, I think those are programs that you should be looking at and should have some idea of what we're going to do for these students.
Yes, we realize that summer will be here very soon, and that it is important for us to start looking at what we need to do to extend learning for some of these students in need. And we are also waiting to make sure that we work with our Board of Education to get appropriate approvals and decisions to determine our funding sources as well. So we are not just waiting, we are actively in the process of working with our schools in complex areas to design what the school-specific programs might look like.
Thank you for that, Terry. But in listening to some of the board meetings, it seems to me that the board is asking the same questions and also, asking about what the plans are for funding and have not received that information yet. So I just wanted you guys to be put on notice that we are aware of what the statistics are, and we are aware that there will be funding coming down from the feds to help with the Department of Education. We are aware of the budget shortfalls, which is why planning now for courses and curriculum that's going to be needed is even more important, to make sure that we have funds available to carry this out and keep our children at the grade levels that they need to be to move them on to the next grade. Members, any further questions? Senator Favela, are you raising your hand? No? Okay.
I was scratching my nose.
Thank you.
TMI.
Thank you, Terry. Moving on to the next testifier, Kathy Betts, Director, Department of Human Services. Kathy, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, and members of the committee. My name is Kathleen Scardino. I am Program Administrator with DHS, here to testify on behalf of Director Betts. The department stands on its written testimony and offers comments. We will stand by to answer any questions from committee members.
Thank you. Members, any questions? If not, moving on to Corey Rosenly, President, Hawaii State Teachers Association.
Chair Kidani, HST opposes the bill as it stands right now, specifically one provision, and that is that there could be use of the CARES Act funding for this. At the last BOE meeting, the superintendent put forward a proposal that was asking for $50 million for private tutors and $10 million for summer school learning, at the same time looking to eliminate 700 teaching positions. We know that there's great need out there, but we need to prioritize. So we would ask that if this bill proceeds, just to eliminate the CARES Act as a potential source of funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. This is exactly why we're asking the department for their plans, because we would like to know what that is also. Members, questions? If not, Paula Adams, Executive Director, Hawaii After School Alliance.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Mercado Kim, and members of the committee. I am Paula Adams from the Hawaii After School Alliance, and I'm here to support the intent of the bill and to answer any questions that you might have regarding summer programs. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Paula. Members, questions? If not, Nicole Wu, Director, Hawaii Children's Action Network, speaks.
Aloha, Chair Kidani and Vice Chair Kim, members of the committee. I'm the Director of Research and Economic Policy at Hawaii Children's Action Network Speaks, and I stand on our written testimony in support of this bill. We know pandemic learning loss is affecting our students, especially those without the means. It's exacerbating inequalities in our state. So we believe that a coordinated effort on summer learning is one way that we can really help these students catch up. The current system is sort of first come, first served. It would be great if there were a way to really target those children who've been falling behind further from their peers. And we really, we defer to HSTA and their concerns. If there are certain funds that aren't appropriate, we understand that. But the idea of coordinating summer learning is the important thing is our important message, and we support that part of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Members, questions? If not, can I call for a recess? We're reconvening the Committee on Education, 3 o'clock agenda. Starting with Senate Bill 224, recommendation of the chair is to pass as is. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Cano.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Once, twice.
Excused.
No? Excused. Okay, Madam Chair, 4 members affirmative. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. Senate Bill 518, relating to education. Recommendation is to pass with amendments. This is a bill to require the Department of Education to establish and implement a sexual abuse prevention education program. We will include charter school participation in the development of the program and specifying that the Board of Education adopt board policies applicable to all public schools, including charter schools. We will also insert a blank amount, appropriation amount, to go to the Charter Commission for the purpose of implementation of the program. And we also have technical and non-substantive amendments. No questions? Senate Bill 518, passed with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Cano.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, 5 members present, all affirmative. Your recommendations adopted.
Thank you. For Senate Bill 805, relating to the practice of behavior analysis, recommendation of the chair is going to be to pass with amendments. We will focus on area where we do have consensus.
That's quick, yeah.
By striking the exemption 10 in section 1, and also making technical and non-substantive amendments. Questions? If not, Senate Bill 805 to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Cano.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, 5 members present, all affirmative. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. Senate Bill 806 relating to public school lands. This is the Mililani Town Association voluntary action of condemnation for the Department of Education at Mililani High School. Recommendation of the chair is to pass as is. Members, questions? If not, Senate Bill 806 pass as is. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Cano.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, 5 members present, all voting aye.
Thank you. Senate Bill 807 relating to education requires the Department of Education to submit an annual report on the school academic and financial plans to the Board of Education and the legislature. Recommendation of the chair is to pass with amendments clarifying that 3 most recent years of Strive High data must be included in the academic plan. The NAEP scores apply to schools who participate. School outcomes in the academic plan must have priority improvement strategies and measures to determine progress. And also the reflect in the committee report the suggestion by He'e Coalition to set up continuous monitoring by complex area and state leadership to support schools. Members, questions? If not, recommendation is to pass with amendment Senate Bill 807. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Any members voting no? Any members voting with reservations? If not, all members voting in affirmative, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Senate Bill 809 appropriates funds to public school positions and the Hawaii Teachers Standards Board. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, making technical and non-substantive amendments. Chair wanted also to say that this is not new funding. It just was not put in the line item. This is something the Hawaii Teacher Standards Board has been around for a long time, and we do need them. So recommendation again is to pass Senate Bill 809 with amendments to make technical and non-substantive amendments. Questions? Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Any member voting no? Any member voting with reservations? Hearing none. 5 members in the affirmative. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. Senate Bill 811 requires the Department of Education to publish a weekly report on schools that have reported COVID-19 cases. Recommendation of the chair is to pass as is. Members, questions? If not, recommendation of the chair is to pass Senate Bill 811 as is. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Any members voting no? Any members voting reservations? Hearing none. Recommendation, all members voting in the affirmative. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. The final bill is Senate Bill 812, requires the superintendent to serve as a summer learning coordinator and coordinate all summer programs for children. Requires the summer learning coordinator to leverage certain federal funds for school-based summer programs. Recommendation of the chair is going to be to pass with amendments, and the amendments would be to defect the date to July 1, 2050 for further discussion of this bill. Members, questions? Recommendation is to pass Senate Bill 812 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye. Any member voting no? Any member voting with reservations? Hearing none.
Reservations.
Okay, reservations for Senator Favela. Anyone else? If not, for all 5 members in the affirmative, the recommendations adopted.
Thank you, members. Thank you, audience, for your testimony. Meeting's adjourned.